Hi everyone! Tracy, Aubrey, Martina, and myself will be discussing word patterns and strategies. My name is Jasmine. I will be introducing the word pattern and strategies as well as doing a quick overview of what they mean. When you teach new word patterns with younger ages, you should follow a target pattern, meaning short patterns of few letters that students understand the phonics of. A lot of us are used to seeing these as word families. A few common examples would be at, am, and ab. When students add a single letter to the target pattern, they can form a new word. At could be turned into bat, am could be turned into ham, and ab could be turned into cab. As you can see, these words follow the pattern of consonant, vowel, consonant, or CVC. These are also known as onsets and rhymes. Onsets being the first consonant of the word, and rhymes being the final vowel and consonant. It is very helpful to have what's called an onset rhyme chart in the classroom to be used either as a whole, a group, or used in an individual activity. This chart displays the rhyme in the inner circle and the onset in the outer circle. The outer circle has consonants like C, P, S, H, and any other letter that goes with the word at. We have C for cat, P for pat, S for sat, H for hat, and so on and so forth. This is helpful when students are learning how to spell and read. It will allow students to recognize the pairs that are created with onsets and rhymes and help them recognize parts of larger words. As teachers, we must be careful how we teach these target patterns, especially with English Second Language students, also known as ESL. It is important to give them a variety of kinesthetic and visual content of the words because many of them may not have prior knowledge of words in the English language. It would look something like this. We have a mixture of both pictures and words. We have pictures of a cat, a hat, a pan, and a bat. We also have the words bat, can, fan, and mat. If you have a second sheet, you can have the ESL students match the words with the object. The ESL students would point to these and say the words out loud. You could also use the onset rhyme chart to help with the students. For ESL students, you want to make sure they are given a list of pairings to use. If you provide them with a word family and tell them to think of a word with the word family, you might stumble across a misconception. The students might create a made-up word. For example, an ESL student might choose am and k and create the word cam. Or they might create a word that is in the English language. For example, they might choose on and see and create con. But they might not understand what the word means. Because of this, critics believe that ESL students should only use phonics and target patterns with words that they are familiar with. The words that ESL students might not know could be words like tab, pat, or jam. Even though these are common for native English speakers to know, the ESL students might not have this prior knowledge. To avoid this, it is advised to have students read terms that they are familiar with inside the classroom, whether it be an action that is commonly done, an object that is commonly seen, or something that is commonly referred to inside the classroom. And now, here's Aubrey. She'll be going over a little more in depth into the central ideas of word strategies.
Hi, this is Aubrey Stewart. Now, the first article that I read was Word Identification and Spelling Word Identification by Dr. Rebecca Felton. In the article, it listed central ways for teachers to teach word identification. The first indicator that it gave is that it should be explicit and direct, taught clear, where students can be actively involved when learning and guided to make discoveries, participate in the learning process, and that skills and concepts should be taught to achieve mastery level of understanding. Instruction should be systematic. The skills are taught in a logical order from the most simple to the most complex. Teach total word structure, beginning with the phonemic awareness and proceed to prefix and suffix. Phonemic awareness, instruction, and practice should start with the letter introduction and decoding. Encoding should be taught in coordination with decoding. Encoding is where students spell by mapping sounds to letters. Teachers should teach these two together so that students can learn patterns in spelling as they are learning to decode. Decoding skills should be taught first for accuracy, then fluency. Decoding text should be used to reinforce accuracy and automaticity of a student's skills to decode. For irregular words, students should be taught in regular instruction as needed so that students can decode them, not a list of sight words with no meaning. So I also included a YouTube video.
Trace the letters in the word from.
I also added a picture of the 4 stages of word identification. The second source of my research was called the Research-Based Method of Reading Instruction, Grades K through 3, by Sharon Vaughn and Sylvia Lennon Thompson. So when teachers teach phonics and word study, the main aim is for the students to understand the relationship between letters and sounds, that letters make words and that words can be read in sentences. The 2 ways that students do this is making letters into words and comprehending print. Explicit instruction is best when it is taught in kindergarten or 1st grade. The elements of instruction are print awareness, alphabetic knowledge and principle, and irregular word.
Hello, I'm Tracy, and I will be discussing the word patterns and strategies to use in the classroom. I want to start off by saying that all word recognition instructions are integrated into large reading programs. Many teachers use these reading programs to teach phonic and word recognition. In fact, it is the cornerstone of instruction in most classrooms. When using word patterns and strategies inside the classroom, it can help students understand the relationship between letters and sounds. Effective phonics and word recognition strategies will allow students to become comfortable with the following: alphabetic knowledge, phonemic awareness, sound symbol relations, word identification strategies, spelling and writing connections, related reading practice, reading fluency. When teaching word patterns and strategies, alphabetic knowledge will be used. Alphabetic knowledge helps children learn to identify and name upper and lowercase letters. You can integrate this into your classroom by using games, songs, or writing activities. When teaching phonemic awareness, you should follow this order: identifying words that sound similar, like cat, bat, rat, and hat. Dividing sentences into words. For example, understanding that the cat is black is 4 different words and not just one long word. Dividing words into syllables. Bat will be separated into b, a, t. Bat. Identifying beginning, medial, and ending sounds. For example, ah is for apple, or finding that the correct ending to seed is d. Auditory and/or visual clues, such as clapping out sounds in syllables. Cat. And finally, activities that teach more advanced letter relationship. This can be demonstrated when a teacher stretches out the sound of a word. For example, sun, and not separating the sounds like s, n. This is more advanced because it starts the blending and phoneme awareness that more advanced students learn. When discussing sound-symbol relations, it is common for sound-letter relations to be taught directly and explicitly in the classroom. These help advanced phonemic awareness activities and provide opportunities to practice every lesson. As you teach this, point to each letter as the students sound out the words. Like this: m, a, t, mat. When doing this, you choose the consonants and the vowels that can combine easily to make words. Make sure when teaching you introduce blends or clusters separately. As you teach word identification strategies, you will be teaching how to use word order. You can do this by providing limited sets of sight words. You will also be teaching students how to decode words using strategies to identify words with more than one syllable. Integrating spelling and writing activities is a great tool in the classroom. One example could be relating the words to what the children are reading. When teaching word patterns, provide reading practice inside the classroom. Read or give the students stories that have a large number of decodable words, making sure that the students can understand them, meaning that the words in the story are of the spoken language of the children. When teaching reading fluency, have the students read and reread stories with reading partners, as well as practice new words prior to reading the text with the students. You can also read the same stories to the children before so that they have the opportunity to hear the text read appropriately. When helping students with spelling, you can tell them to do the following. You can say the word slowly and listen for the sounds you hear, such as s, a, t. You can use a rhyming word to sound out a word. If you can spell rain, then you can spell rain. Use word families to spell related words. Think about different spelling patterns that can spell the sound you hear. Write it on a practice page and see if it looks right. Use a resource in the classroom, such as a chart, a word wall, a book, a dictionary, a calendar, or words that you've already written yourself. I hope that these examples have provided you with some insight to how you can teach these word patterns and strategies inside the classroom. But to help you remember the key points of all the different types of word strategies, here is Martina.
Hi, I'm Martina, and I will be telling you about some tips for remembering information on the NCEL Foundations of Reading exam. The first thing that I would do is get familiar with how the exam is structured. The exam will present 4 different components. You will have a sub-area, the objective, descriptive statement, and the test question. For the exam, there are 4 different sub-areas. Number 1, Foundations of Reading Development. 2, Development of Reading Comprehension. 3, Reading Assessment and Instruction. 4, Integration of Knowledge and Understanding. Within each sub-area, there are different objectives. Sub-area 1, Foundations of Reading Development, which makes up 35% of the questions in the exam, contains 4 objectives. They are understanding phonological and phonemic awareness, understanding concepts of print and algebraic principle, understanding the role of phonics in promoting reading development, understanding word analysis skills and strategies. In sub-area 2, Development of Reading Comprehension, there are 3 objectives. They are understanding vocabulary development, understanding how to apply reading comprehension skills and strategies to imaginative or literary text, and understanding how to apply reading comprehension skills and strategies in informational or expository texts. This sub-area makes up 27% of the exam. The sub-area 3, Reading Assessment and Instruction, has 2 objectives which make up 18% of the exam. Those objectives are understanding formal and informal methods for assessing reading development, understanding multiple approaches to reading. Lastly, the sub-area 4, Integration of Knowledge and Understanding, contains one objective, which is 20% of the exam. That objective is prepare an organized, developed analysis on a topic related to one or more of the following: foundations of reading development, development of reading comprehension, reading assessment, and instruction. The best way to have the most success in the test is to read over these different objectives and try to fully understand their content. Provide examples for each objective to help make connections with the question. Being able to recognize the objective in the test and recall your examples will help you have more success answering the questions. For example, Tracy mentioned several steps to follow for phonemic awareness, which are identifying words that sound similar, dividing sentences into words, dividing words into syllables, and etc. This would be a great connection to make with Sub-Area 1, Foundations of Reading Development. Having a breakdown and better understanding of each objective will help you recall the information easier for the exam. Another great tip is to practice. Before taking the real exam, I would recommend answering sample questions to represent different objectives. This will help you associate similar questions and objectives on the actual exam when you're ready to take it. Lastly, when studying, study with a partner. When studying with a partner, you're able to explain the different objectives and questions with one another. The more you read, repeat, and recite the information with your study partner, the more you will be able to recall the information on the test.